There's a quietness in you that didn't come easy. It's the kind of quiet that isn't empty. It's full of battles fought in silence, tears wiped without witnesses, and storms endured without collapsing. When you walk into a room, people can feel it. You don't need to speak. Your presence says enough, and that's what disturbs them. You're not loud. You're not flashy. You don't need attention. Yet somehow, the ones who scream for validation can't stand the way you simply exist. Calm, composed, untouched. You're not provoking anyone. You're not trying to outshine. But your stillness, your peace, it screams in a language that chaos can't understand. And the people who are used to noise, who live in drama, who depend on reaction, they don't know what to do with someone like you. You unsettle them, not because you've wronged them, but because you remind them of everything they've refused to fix in themselves. There's a story I once heard about a boy who was raised in a house of emotional warfare, where love came with conditions, where silence meant punishment, where peace wasn't safety. It was the eye of a storm that always struck again. He learned to stay quiet, not because he wanted peace, but because he was afraid of what his voice would trigger. But as the boy grew, he chose a different path. He began to understand his emotions, to sit with them, to heal. Not overnight, it took years, years of falling back into old patterns, years of trying to be heard before realizing that real peace doesn't need to beg for understanding. He stopped explaining himself to people who only listened to reply. He stopped reacting to those who poked his wounds just to see if they still hurt. He stopped entertaining chaos, and something strange happened. People got angry, not because he hurt them, but because he no longer let them control him. They accused him of being distant, cold, arrogant. They called him changed as if it were a curse. But he had changed. He had turned his silence from fear into strength, and the people who hadn't done that work, they saw it as betrayal. His peace exposed their chaos, and that was the moment he understood. Some people don't want you to be healed. They want you to be predictable. They want you to respond like the version of you they were comfortable manipulating. So when you stop reacting, when you stop needing to prove yourself, when you stop being emotionally available to dysfunction, they take it as rejection. They don't miss you. They miss controlling you. That's why your peace bothers them, because it means you're no longer accessible in the same way. The ones who used to pull you into fights with a single comment now find themselves talking to a wall of calm. The ones who used to twist your emotions into apologies now find your boundaries unshakable. The ones who used to feed off your chaos now starve in your presence. You see, peace isn't just calm, it's power. It's clarity. It's choosing not to attend every argument you're invited to. It's the refusal to bleed just to prove you have a heart. They don't understand that you didn't become peaceful by accident. You built it, day by day, breath by breath, choice by choice, through every moment you could have exploded but chose to breathe, through every insult you could have answered but didn't, through every test you passed by walking away. Your peace makes people uncomfortable when they're addicted to conflict. It's like standing in front of a mirror that reflects every part of them they've ignored, and instead of doing the work to face it, they'll try to break you instead. They'll provoke you, they'll test you, they'll say you've changed and mean it like an insult. But what they're really saying is, I don't know how to live without drama, and your peace makes me feel left behind. You have to understand, some people only know how to connect through pain. Through chaos, through drama. When you no longer engage with that, they don't know how to relate to you anymore, and that's not your fault. You didn't distance yourself to punish them. You did it to protect the peace you earned. You chose a life where you don't beg for respect, where you don't need to clap back to every insult, where your energy is no longer available for people who only take. That makes you powerful, but it also makes you a target. Because the truth is, people who haven't found their own peace will always resent yours. It reminds them of the inner work they're avoiding, of the healing they haven't started, of the self-awareness they fear. You are a reminder that peace is possible, and that's terrifying to someone who still blames the world for their misery, but don't dim your light for the comfort of those who refuse to open their eyes. You didn't go through everything you did just to pretend you're still broken for the sake of fitting in. Your calm is a revolution. Your peace is rebellion in a world that profits off your pain. They can't stand your peace because they can't figure out how you got it. They watched you lose things, they watched you get betrayed, they watched you cry, fall, suffer, and they waited for you to break like they would have, but you didn't. You got up, not louder, not angrier, but calmer, and that's what they can't forgive, because your healing disproves their excuses. You chose forgiveness, not because they deserved it, but because you deserved freedom. You chose stillness, not because you're weak, but because you're finally strong enough to stop needing chaos to feel alive. You chose silence, not because you had nothing to say, but because not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. You don't need to justify your peace. You don't need to explain your silence. You don't need to prove that your detachment is self-protection, not cruelty. They'll misunderstand it. Let them. They'll label it. Let them, they'll say you're cold, distant, selfish, but only because they don't know what it looks like when someone finally learns to protect their own soul. Your peace is the result of hard work, of nights you almost lost yourself, of days you couldn't find the strength to get up, but did anyway, of choosing not to match energy, but to master your own. Don't give it up, not for anyone. Let them call you boring. Let them say you're different. Let them leave if they can't handle the version of you that finally chose clarity over confusion, presence over performance, healing over hurting. You'll notice fewer people calling. You'll notice silence where there used to be noise. You'll see them drift, and you'll feel lonely at times, but don't mistake loneliness for loss. You didn't lose them. You lost the version of you that needed them. You shed the chaos, and now your life doesn't echo their pain anymore. It's okay, it's normal. The higher you rise, the quieter it gets. Your peace will filter people. It will show you who was there for your soul and who was just feeding on your struggle. You'll find new people. People who recognize your calm not as distance but as depth. People who don't need drama to feel alive. People who bring peace instead of stealing it. But until then, walk alone if you must. Walk quietly. Walk steadily, because there is nothing more dangerous to those who thrive on control than someone who no longer reacts, someone who smiles in silence, someone who breathes in pain and exhales nothing but peace. And if they can't stand it, let them go. You're not here to play small so they can feel big. You're not here to drown in emotional games to keep others comfortable. You're here to grow, to evolve, to be free. And peace is freedom, the kind of freedom that can't be bought, only earned, only protected. So if they can't stand your peace, that's not your burden, that's their mirror. Let them break it if they must. But you keep walking, keep growing, keep healing, and never ever give them the storm they're hoping for, because the most powerful thing you'll ever do is stay calm in the fire they lit to watch you burn.